I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, who's there comments? Please go up to the table and state your name. And could you click on the microphone, please, Steve?
I missed the podium. I have 5 questions concerning urban renewal. Does the city have a date when the paper mill is going to leave? Because obviously, after they leave, then we can use all of the property. If they're there, you can't. Okay. In order to build in that place, we've got to have some information about what's underground. And is the city planning to release the data on the cores that are going to be taken of the cooling lagoon and all of that property? Next question is, did the city put out a national RFP for the waterfront and the mill site? Hopefully having investors or developers give us proposals. Is that a no?
Yes. We did put an RFQ out.
Well, nationally, and it was a 6-month-long request,
How many?
4 or 5 months probably.
and it was advertised where?
Daily Journal, which is pretty well distributed.
Yeah. Okay. And you got no answers, some answers.
Got some.
Some inquiries.
Could we, has it ever been published who answered? Who? I do know about it. I assume
Would
the
that put us
council
in a
knows.
liability situation if that was released at this point?
Potentially. We don't have.
Okay.
Next
When
week.
we pick one, it will be.
Okay, now, as you know, Attorney General Sessions was here in Oregon, and he doesn't like marijuana. So when the federal government closes down marijuana production in Oregon, is this city liable, since we are basically a partner by renting space to a marijuana production facility?
When would that be?
Whenever he closes it down.
When would that be?
Don't know.
Are they going to do it for medical marijuana?
Well, the real question is, there's 3 sides to the question. One is there is a number of very good things with marijuana for, not as marijuana, but as a chemical source for a number of products, from anti-pain to
CBD
anti-cancer.
CHPD.
And no, there's some others in there that are further down as far as milligrams per ton, but much more powerful. It's basically a surprisingly large open book on pharmacology. But then there's the other side of the addictive part of marijuana and the neurodamage that it does, especially to young people less than 25. So has the city of St. Helens in any way protected itself, because we will be a partner, and if the production of marijuana becomes a federal, or is enforced as a federal legal problem, because right now it is against the law, do we have any protection on that?
I would say yes, but I'm sure it's in our language. Attorneys have drawn up the lease agreement. You're
But
welcome-
attorneys with the federal
You're
government
welcome to
or
get a
with
copy
the
of it.
state government?
I'm sure you're welcome to get a copy of it, Steve.
Okay, because that's one of the questions. As we've come to find out, Oregon seems to have a very different view of the Constitution than the rest of the country. Okay, and now in the design of the waterfront and the industrial, did the city council ever directly request input or attendance from the school board on the plans for the plan? Basically, the framework plan is a third-rate plan, looks like the back end of Hillsborough. And I know there's a number of problems with the Hillsborough planning when it comes to school boards. Number of children, and so on and so on and so on. So the question was, did the school board ever get actively asked to be participating in the design of the waterfront?
Well, yeah, they were included in the original open houses that we have.
Now, I'm not talking
Architects
I'm
here.
talking in the formal design. Any open house doesn't count. Talking about the formal, basically
The
closed
entire
sessions.
population was involved in the formal
No,
design.
I'm talking about the formal design meetings that were closed to the public.
Well, I didn't realize anything was closed to the public.
A couple times I made comments and I was told that the public had no input. So, you forgot. So obviously, you made no
Committee.
formal request for them to be part of the design committee.
If you would have asked your question at the end of the meeting when we requested that the citizens ask their questions, then you could have asked your questions, but you stormed out of the meeting, Steve.
No, most of the time I stayed the whole meeting, but I did ask very much up front. And it was not, the other part of the design was you could go around and talk to a few people, and I did, and most of the people at these little sections had no authority to say anything. They basically said, this is what we know. So you really had no formal position on the design committee for the school board.
I don't know, I don't remember who made it up.
For one thing, there is no formal design.
No, it's a concept.
Yeah.
It's still a concept.
No, well, yeah, but
Everything that you've seen,
right after the visiting architects, we had a number of public meetings and a number of people were put on a design committee. Most of the design committee was the city council. There was the couple of members of the consultants, and there were a few citizens. Now, some of the citizens on the design committee made requests at the public meetings that happened after the private meetings about the data, and they were told, oh, we're sorry, we didn't send it to you. So there was some very strange communications about what information was shared. But I'm only talking about basically the private meetings between the consultant, city council, and the design committee people from the population. Was there a place for the city council?
what I can tell you from what I know, and this is what is happening since I have been here, is everything's been a concept. There has been a controversial about our building heights because the planning commission did not want to put anything on that. It's all been conceptual. We put out an RFQ. We have one person that's promised, a promising lead that we're talking about. We can't divulge that right now.
That's fine.
The park was drawn up by the PSU students. There was public input on that. We are going to have approximately 6 acres of waterfront, complete waterfront, public access.
Basically, what's been shown is the
Everything that-
framework plan. I know what the procedure's been. The framework plan is third rate. It's a very poor access to the public area for handicapped people for that. But
Steve,
the concept I understand. But the question I just asked was there a formal request for the members of the school board or somebody representing the school board to be on?
They're more
this
than welcome. Scott Stockwell,
All agents.
Bill Amos, they're all welcome. Jeff Howell.
But no, I didn't say
The school
welcome.
board.
I said we're asked.
All
Well,
agencies
was
Scott
were
part
asked.
of the committee? Was
Yes.
Scott part of the committee?
He was part of the urban
Yeah.
renewal.
Scott was part of that original.
Of the urban
committee.
renewal, not
No,
of the
the-
waterfront
No, the
design.
waterfront. Scott was part of that, yes.
Okay, double check. Because one of the problems that we've had, especially with the framework and the number of possible apartments, and basing this on the problems that Hillsborough's had, a great deal of people have been brought in for Intel. And basically they fill those apartments up, which puts a very strange load on the education system for who is brought in and where they're placed, because that obviously is a particular group of schools that get loaded. The other part of the question that the school board was hopefully involved in, and it's just, I think it's last week came out that the education level, as far as tested, Oregon stayed the same or went down. It did not improve. No, went down.
I thought we were higher than the standard. I thought I just read that.
Well,
in the
no,
paper.
St. Helens maybe, but the
I thought I
state,
just read that in the paper.
St. Helens and Scappoose both had mixed results,
So-
overall the same or up.
Yeah.
Maybe all of that
Yep.
stuff, so St. Helens
So
and
that-
Scappoose did
yeah,
not all go
but
down.
the state went down. Okay, and the point I'm trying to make is if we want to get
Okay.
people here, we've got to have as good or better than the rest of the state and advertise it. And the way you do that is have strong input, both from diversity as far as, and also excellence from the schools to get people here.
We have a very good relationship with the schools.
So that's one of the questions that, you know, because publicly, nothing was pointed out about the impact of this waterfront community on the schools. That was something the consultants left out. So thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Any other public comment? Okay, protest hearing nuisance abatement, 375 South 13th Street, West Holland.
I'm sorry, I think
That's all right.
it's sat on my leg. I don't know what happened to it. I am Janet Lasolin, 375 South 13th Street, and I am protesting the number of hours put in our place. I don't know if Officer Heartless had already multiplied and then the city multiplied again. Something happened because they were there a total of 3 times, 2 hours 2 times, and half an hour one other time when they just picked up some wood that we had piled down by the street. You can see by the amount of the bill that they couldn't have been there very long for, I think it was like $39 or something from the waste. But the labor total should have only been 2 1/4, and not the, I think it added up to a whole lot. And that's my main protest.
It looks like they might have dump fees included in that as well.
No, the dump fees I don't argue with, it's the labor fees. They were charging $25 an hour.
Can we get comment from Bob on that? Do you have that information, Bob?
I do. I have 3 separate invoices. The first one is May 24th. It is a total of 2 people, 5 hours, 2 people, 4 hours, I'm sorry, and a $72.49 dump fee. Officer Heartless was there escorting the workers at that time. On April 31st, I'm sorry, May 31st, we have 2 people for a total of 4 hours each, plus a dump fee of $35.70. And on June 7th, we have 2 individuals, 5 hours each, with a dump fee of $72.45. Officer Heartless was on site during these times, supervising the cleanup efforts. What I would like to point out, and remind the council that through the municipal code, we can charge for Officer Heartless's time, for my time, for the finance director, for the city recorder's time, which we did not do. So I've got a total of about 25 hours tied up in this. Officer Heartless being on site with these, there's 8, he's got 13 hours tied up in it as well. None of that was billed to the Lasolins. We're simply trying to collect and recover what we paid in hard costs to the contractors doing the cleanup.
Are the hours that they put down, is that filling the trailer and then disposing of the trailer also?
That's correct.
So they had to unload the trailer and
That's
whatnot?
correct. I-
It's, what I can tell you is it's what these guys are charging. I commend you for finding somebody to do it fairly cheap.
Yeah, $25 an hour, I think, is fairly cheap for cleanup efforts to be able to clean up this type of debris.
Okay, I suppose I didn't allow for the dumping of it, the hours they put in doing that. Honest mistake, I apologize. This is a big hardship on us, and we can only make payments or beg some forgiveness or something.
I think you'd be allowed to pay what you can, right? Sure, yeah? I mean, within a reasonable,
The way we have the process set up right now is we send them a bill, and if it's not paid within a certain time or frame, we
Okay.
place a lien on the property.
Okay.
And I don't see any reason why they couldn't make a payment plan, and then we would release the lien once it's paid off, just like any other local improvement district or something else. So that could be an option if the city council would like to do that.
Can you set that plan up?
Absolutely.
I think it's something we could definitely probably use in the future, so it'd be, does that work for you? Okay.
I'll come back next council meeting, I guess, with a proposed plan and have the council discuss and make any changes if it's needed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you think that's something we could take care of administratively? I mean, that way we could speed up the process as far as payment? Does anybody object to that?
No, not at all. I think that you could, hopefully you could take care of that in.
I can, one question that would just be a
Yes.
frame of reference. In most of the payment plans that we set up with local improvement districts or something, we charge an interest rate. It's usually whatever the current interest rate is nationally. So it's usually somewhere between 5 and 7%. Is that something you would like to do on here, just like we do on other?
Why don't you and Rick and John talk about that amongst yourselves, come up with our governing policy, that way there's no problem with that, and just do it, and then
Sounds good.
report back to the council what you did.
Will do.
That's fine with me.
Okay.
Is that okay, Keith?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. All right, moving on. Is there any other comment on the protest? Okay. We'll be in touch. All right, let's deliberate the comprehensive plan and zone change for 1160 and 1170 Deer Island. I think it makes sense. There was nobody opposed. Jacob said it was unanimous by planning commission. I know they hauled out a ton of garbage out of that place, and it's unfortunate that it burnt, and that's why they're here today. It was their misfortune, so we're just trying to make a positive out of a negative. They hauled loads of garbage out. Loads and loads of garbage out of that place.
Where are we?
Oh, we're deliberating right now on the
You want us to weigh in?
yeah.
And, yeah, I think this is a good proposal, and I think it's going to improve the livability of our community, especially in that area.
I appreciate the additional affordable housing that we offered.
Sure. Yeah, that's what we'd like to do. I support Jacob's staff report, and the planning commission discussed it thoroughly and had good findings. So I think it's just kind of cleaning up old issues as the community changes.
We're
I like
expect-
it.
He likes
It
it.
works.
We're
Way
expected
better
to
than what
say,
was there.
we're expected as council people to say why we voted one way or the other.
Yes,
That's an expectation.
So can I make a motion?
you sure can.
Move we approve comprehensive plan map and zone change at 1160 and 1170 Deer Island Road.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to approve comprehensive plan map zone change to 1116, 1170 Deer Island Road. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none? That's that. Okay, now we're gonna deliberate the easement and extinguishment at 2554 Columbia Boulevard. Open for discussion.
Well, it's an easement that we're not using and not likely to use, so I would approve.
I agree, and I think staff approves, so that is why I'm supporting this.
Yeah, it's all good.
Works.
Keith says it works. Okay, and I would agree that there's one right next to it that we actually is active. That one is obsolete. So, somebody want to make a motion?
Move we extinguish the easement at 2554 Columbia Boulevard.
Second?
Okay, a motion's been made and seconded to extinguish the easement at 2554 Columbia Boulevard. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. Okay, ordinance first reading. A, ordinance number 3218, an ordinance amending the St. Helens Municipal Code, Chapter 15.04 and 15.20, relating to Oregon State Building Codes and the codes for abatement of dangerous buildings. Ordinance number 3219, an ordinance relating to the universal fee schedule and parking fines, amending St. Helens Municipal Code sections 2.32.030, 3.160 or .020, 5.08.140, 5.08.24-5, 10 or 10.0424, 12.32030, 12.32.030, 15.08100, and 10.04.380.
Can you read that one? I want to have the zero in it.
Okay.
Before you make a motion,
You want to discuss? Yes.
It's just first reading, but I wanted a little bit of detail about what it is.
okay, first of all, they should probably be considered separately. Individual ordinances should be voted on separately. But there was a question about what 3219 was, and that would have been a lot quicker, more expeditiously answered if Kathy was here, because it's a project she's been working on. And what it is, it's an effort to clean up the code to, when we enact fees, there's fees can be set by, are established. Oftentimes fees, in the old days, fees were established by ordinance. And then when you want to amend those fees, it required an ordinance to amend an ordinance. The newer, what we've been moving towards in this universal fee schedule is an ordinance that sets a fee, and then the amend changes to the fee are by resolution, which is more temporary in nature.
Good.
This is a cleanup effort to that. It's not changing any fees. This is just changing the structural
So I won't have to read that
methodology.
again?
No
I will
way.
not have to read that again. I'll
Take the
pull
zeros
that.
out.
I'll pull that.
So that's what all the numbers are about. So
Okay. Thanks for your explanation, John.
sure.
Okay, now we're coming to a resolution, and we're going to open this for public comment. It's a proposed increase in Dropbox rates. Is there anybody here to comment? Okay. Resolution number 1799, a resolution establishing Dropbox rates and superseding resolution number 1761.
Move we adopt resolution number 1799.
Second.
Explanation.
Yep.
What is the, could someone shed some light on that specific resolution?
So this is a resolution that fulfills our contractual obligation with Waste Management, I believe, on the container drop boxes. And in that franchise agreement, we have already agreed to pass on the expense of any dump fees that are increases at the transfer station. We split those costs.
Right.
So that's what this is, and it's really pennies.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, any other? Okay, so a motion's been made and seconded to approve resolution number 1799. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. Okay, approve and authorize for signature. A, IGA and ODOT for TGM grant for St. Helens Riverfront Connector Plan. B, final plat for land partition at 2554 Columbia Boulevard.
Move we approve and authorize signature, items A and B as read.
Second.
Okay, a motion's been made and seconded to approve and authorize for signature A through B. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. Okay, consent agenda for acceptance. A, library board minutes dated June 20th and July 18th, 2017. B, planning commission minutes dated August 8th, 2017.
Move we accept consent agenda 12A and B.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to approve consent agenda 12A and B. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, hearing none. Consent agenda for approval, number 13. A, street closure request. B, accounts payable bill list.
Move we approve consent agenda 13A and B.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to approve consent agenda A and B. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Let's see, there was something I was gonna bring up and I forgot exactly what it was. It was on my mind earlier.
We'll give you a second opportunity.
Okay,
Comes back
all
around.
right, let's do that. Let's start over here, Counselor Locke.
Nothing tonight.
Okay. Counselor Thorson?
I wasn't able to be here earlier, so I have a couple of things. This Saturday, CERT is doing a drill training. And they've opened it up to all past graduates of the CERT teams. So it's a big training about emergency preparedness. I'm looking forward to that. It's pretty exciting. The other thing they had is I wondered, just thinking about the people with nuisance abatements, that it becomes a financial hardship. I don't know if, I know that there's nonprofits out here that do house painting and stuff like that, and maybe some of our customers have gotten so far behind, but maybe there's, I don't know how you get it out there to where if there was Kiwanis group or Rotary group that might reach out to some of these people in the interim, so it's not 3 years of accumulation, it's not 4 dump loads, it's like, here's a spring cleanup kind of thing. And I don't know, it just might be more proactive and a positive thing instead of $800 for a fixed income. It's just a thought process. The other thing is I spoke to Jacob about, there were 2 people hit, 1 person killed on the road in St. Helens. That person had a disability and was independent in the community, was a young, healthy person, and lost their life in broad daylight. And it's just a reminder to me to be extra vigilant about street safety and visibility. I backed out of a driveway today that someone parks a 4x4 pickup, and there's a full 7-foot hedge there. And I can't see anything. I just have to pray that nobody's going to hit me on Madison Street. And so I don't know whether that's a code enforcement thing, if that's a watch planning commission thing, and just be more diligent about following up on the sidewalks and the visibility and the line of sight, because whether we like it or not, we're growing. There's more kids out there, there's more adults out there, more people using alternative transportation, and we just need to keep our citizens safe. That's all I have.
That's a good point.
I would like to comment on the working with people. This situation we had tonight we've been trying to help them for 10 years now, at least. And sometimes you can only go so far. But we've tried every which way we could to help them out.
So I was just going to comment on the safety issue, and I know there was also somebody hit at Four Corners on a bicycle, trapped in their car, and it was kind of, according to Terry in his report, I actually haven't talked to him, so I can't really speak to him, but reading between the lines, what it said is that nobody was at fault. It was neither party seen. One was on a bicycle, which is a motor vehicle, and how many times do you see people riding on the sidewalk on the opposite side of the road, which they should be, and it was right there in Fort Corner. That hedge is way up over the road. Is there?
See, our
You
biking
hate it.
people.
Well, you hate to see somebody have to lose some really good block, like that house, because it makes it so private for them. But it's so. Is there any code that? Yes.
Yes,
Sure, you're aware.
Yes.
specifically. Yes.
3 foot.
3 foot.
Yeah, it seems like 6-foot fences all the way up the street and 7-foot hedges seem like a violation.
We have it, it's in the development code, and then, while I've been here, it was added to the nuisance code to be more effective for code enforcement action. And basically, it's the vision clearance area at intersections. And I think it includes intersections of driveways and
Driveways
streets,
as well.
as streets to streets.
How does someone, if you are aware of something, is that complaint driven?
Yes, and there's an application.
Police app.
There's an application, a police app, that you can photograph it, and it records the address and whatever, and gets right to the code enforcement people. So look at that app on, Keith, can you tell us how to get to that app?
You can go on the police department website.
Yeah, our police website's right off the city website, so.
Yeah.
Yep.
We've had so many moms and families in here, and then just these recent pedestrian accidents just brings it home. And with darker, rainier weather, it's
Yeah.
not gonna be better.
Yeah, it was a tragedy out there on Old Portland Road. Yep. So, okay, let's go over here, Councilor Khan.
Okay, well, just some reminders. Thursday's a busy day. Arts and Cultural are hosting ribbon cutting for the salmon tree sculpture. The library is having the first of a series of 4 civics for adults. And Congresswoman Bonnici is going to be holding a town hall, so we all have to choose what we're going to choose that night. And Saturday is Walk Out of Darkness, Suicide Prevention Walk, and Scappoose at the high school from 7:30 to 11.
Thank you.
In
Yeah.
addition to CERT on Saturday.
They changed the route for the Out of Darkness walk, and it is going from the middle school instead of the high school this year. They're using the other side of the highway, I think largely because there are sidewalks.
Okay, I thought the event still said the high school.
I looked at the map on the website, and it shows it on the other side of the highway. So
Okay.
double check before you leave your house just if you're running late to make sure you're going to the right school.
Absolutely.
Okay, Councilor Morton.
Yeah, we just got our League of Oregon Cities local focus, and on it we the people, First Amendment rights, like that. But on a note that really can very much affect us is the says here, get involved, join the League of Oregon City Policy Committees. I've sat on 2 of those committees, and they are unbelievably effective and communicative and educational. There's the Community Development Committee, the Energy Committee, the Finance and Taxation Committee, the General Government Committee, the Human Resources Committee, the Telecom, Cable, and Broadband Committee, Transportation Committee, and Water/Wastewater Committee. Now, what happens with these committees, they actually go through a process where you formulate as a committee what the legislature should be focusing on through our lobbyists, through the cities, the League of Oregon Cities lobbyists. So they take that to the legislature. And so if there's something in the telecom and cable and broadband, which was the latest one I sat on, was dealing with easements and caps of charges for cable companies and that kind of thing, those issues go forward. And they go forward to our annual meeting of the League of Oregon Cities, and then that's where one of us will cast our vote in terms of what will be adopted for the lobbyists to push to the legislature that represents cities. So it's a part of a process, and it involves like 4 meetings a year down in Salem, and they're usually for 2 hours. And so I would encourage any of the council to make application and see what that's all about. And I think it's an intriguing process that can have very valid and real outcomes that you can actually see through to the state legislature. So I'd like to encourage that. So on that, I'm encouraged to go to the League of Oregon Cities. I think Rick, you'll be there, and Sue will be there, and I don't know if Ginny and Keith can make it or not, but I hope they do. And John, you'll always be there, is it correct? Okay. So that's coming up soon. About a month, I think.
End of next week.
Yeah. Is it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's the 20.
4th to
Oh,
the
how could I
6th.
forget? That's
No,
right.
that's Main Street.
28th. The 28th
That's
of
Main Street.
September.
Oh, that's
League of Oregon
Wednesday?
Cities, the week before.
Yeah. So,
Ginny?
it's around the corner, I knew that. Thank you.
What happened?
Oh, and doesn't it feel good to breathe the fresh air out there and Brian, it's like a bad fever going away. or
What
something.
fresh air? We had
Very
snow
nice.
last night.
It's nice.
Ginny, I wanted to say, yes, you are absolutely correct. That walk is from the middle school.
Yeah, the route last year was very uneven, and there was really difficult route with strollers, let alone the scooters that were out there, because of the parking situation on 2nd Street in Scappoose. I don't know if anybody's walked 2nd Street, but if you walk from the high school all the way down to the courthouse or City Hall, there's not a lot of easy pedestrian access. So I'm glad that they moved to the other side of the highway, and I'm glad that they moved it earlier in the day, because last year it was very warm and you were kind of in the road. I think that's probably not. There was a lot of families out there last year, kids of all ages and strollers. So I think it's good to see it come back and tweak and be a little bit better.
Thank you very much for paying attention to that.
And I do have one other detail to add. The application form is right here under Get Involved in League of Oregon
super.
City Committees,
Thank you.
page 5.
Thanks, Nick.
Sorry.
Okay.
Is that
Department
all
rates.
Susan's that was all of Susan's
Yeah,
report?
yeah.
Okay.
It was actually in Doug's.
Yes, I
It's okay.
I apologize for interrupting you, but I didn't want to forget.
So, department reports. We have been blessed with Jacob. Jacob, would you like to say any words to us?
I do want to correct the statement I said earlier.
Okay.
The Riverfront Connector Plan, I said will go to mid-2018. I was wrong. It's mid-2019.
Okay.
Since you're here, Jacob, do you have an update on Millard Road crossing? Or is there no words yet?
No, in fact, yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. ODOT reached out to me several months ago because they had that committee, and that's been going on for years and years, and Steve Salee was the last person on the committee, so they might needed someone else from the city, so okay, well, I'll do it. I haven't heard from him since.
Al had reported like 4 or 5 months ago something, but I haven't heard anything since then.
Yeah, I don't know the status, to be
Okay.
honest.
I think it's on hold.
I was just curious.
Sue sounds like she has.
And again, I would like to thank Jacob for his 10 years of service to our community.
I can't believe it's on.
Yep. Congratulations. He just
You made a big
got a certificate for 10 years.
I'm sorry.
Pretty crazy. I had more hair when I started.
So did I.
So we can look forward to him?
If you stick around, Rick, you're gonna look.
Thanks, we got Sue?
Regarding the Millard Road, we did have a brief update from an ODOT representative at the Columbia County Traffic Safety Commission meeting about 2 months ago. Really not any change in status. They're still working on design. They're still proposing the light at Millard, some other safety improvements at the Bennett Road intersection, but nothing significantly has changed over what they've shown us maybe six months ago or so. Maybe it's even been longer than that.
Old Portland Road is not ours, correct?
No, that is, well, the portion of it down there belongs to the county.
And
We
then-
have a small portion
But
of it.
Gable is our road, yes?
Gable on the east side of the highway is our road, but Gable on the west side of the highway still belongs to the county until the improvements are done, and then they will transfer it to the city.
There's just a lot of pedestrian traffic out there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Other than that, I don't have anything else.
Okay, I think,
Were you done, Jacob? Okay.
I don't have anything.
okay. Looks good down there. Margaret? What? Nothing from Matt?
I got stuff I could talk about, but it's,
Yeah, Matt, this is where we talk about it. This is where we vent. We get.
it's where I share my feelings.
Yeah. You know how that works around here.
I'm gonna pass.
Turn it into a Gestalt therapy.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Matt. Crystal?
Nothing.
Okay, John?
Oh, just maybe a reiteration of it's mid-September and it's all, you know, Halloween, the month ahead is really a lot of work, and I just, you know, all the planning and all the effort, none of it would be possible without Neil, Public Works, and all the crew that pitches in and has really been proactive and supportive of the event. It's just so much time and energy, and it does amazing things for our community, but it's also it's a lot of work, and it's not to be appreciated from staff. And there's just a lot of events, a lot of things, a lot of good things going on in the city with the funding for the Riverfront Connector plan. Looking forward to that, and then the EPA monies that we've managed to secure, and
Yeah, that's exciting stuff.
the future of the waterfront and how that'll change the community is a lot to look forward to. I'm glad to be part of it.
We're glad you're a part of it too, John. And I guess that's all I'd like to report on, is that we do have a lot of stuff going on. That, you know, that people say, man, I didn't realize your work sessions consisted of that show up. And I'm like, yeah, and that was nothing. Sometimes we've been here since 5:30. You know, today was 4 o'clock. But it is exciting to be a part of something that's bigger than us. And I feel humbled and fortunate that I get to participate. So thank you guys for allowing me to participate.
You came in at a good time, Mayor, and one of the things that you know, Mr. Lopez, when he was kind of grilling us about certain methods of our design of the water, we got a state award of good governance and involving our community and our people in a way that many cities don't even come close to, and I think that all kind of circulates around John's approach and around the council's approach, and the things that you've been saying as well. Involve people as much as we can, and sometimes we get a little bad raspberry for that, but and it can turn into chaos sometimes, and it takes some kind of good leadership to get through it, and I know you'll provide that.
Good. Thank you, Doug. And I would like to thank you guys for sticking out for the rest of the meeting. You didn't have to. You hung out, and I appreciate that you're investing in our community, as you both are. That's exactly what you're doing. And we
Nice to have an
appreciate it.
audience.
Yep.
Thank you, yeah, thank you for giving us the opportunity to.
You bet. You have a good night.
All right.
Good night, St. Helens.
Adjourned.
God, that's.
That is new sign off?